Aloha, I'm Council Vice Chair Kipukai Kualii, and with me is Council Member
Bernard Carvalho. Happy to be here with you.
We're here to do the Council Roundup for our meeting of Wednesday, September 25th. Chair Rapozo is away. He's with his new grandson, first birthday in Austin, Texas. So we started our day with a certificate, and that certificate was for the Ohana Fit Fest and the North Shore Gives Week.
Yep.
The Ohana Fit Fest is happening this Saturday.
This Saturday, yes.
I think it's in its 11th year.
11th year.
It's basically a short, what do you call that? Not a marathon, but it's a walk and a run, and it's a fundraiser.
Yeah,
they raise money for nonprofits in the North Shore. Awesome organization, awesome people. So Councilmember Bulasan put a certificate forward to recognize them and let them come share what's happening. And coincidentally, we just had a forum the night before at the Princeville Associations. So we met all those people.
They're really well connected, those guys out there, trying their best, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely, and doing good for the community.
Yep.
And then our first item was our presentation from the Smith, Dawson, and Andrews firm in Washington, D.C. Basically, the county's lobbying firm, and their primarily role is to find out what kind of federal funds are available and help us make the connections to get their funds. And so it was pretty exciting to hear about some of the successes. We know about the Tiger Grant from a few years back that did work on Rice Street here, and then the newer Raise Grant that is doing the work in along Poipu Road and Koloa Road. But a lot of different grants with the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. And I think we're ahead of the ball on this one as far as our county goes. We're going after different types of grants for roads and for different projects,
Yeah, and it's important that we continue to, continue that relationship and keeping them, because, the federal funding just brings back opportunities for all of us to continue the work, so very good.
Two of the recent successes that they highlighted was $1.2 million thanks to Congresswoman Tokuta's office with the Lima Ola phases 3 and 4, and another $1.5 million thanks to Senator Hirono with the Kalaheo Safe Routes to School. And then numerous $3 million, $1 million, $2 million, $1.8 million, $500,000 for our Waimea levy modification feasibility study. All recent federal monies coming to our county so that we can do the work that needs to do, because we don't, on our own, we don't have enough funding.
And federal, state, county, right? You got to all work together, and that's what it is right here. So
one of the things a lot of the council members expressed interest in was identifying monies for wastewater because of our wastewater needs and the infrastructure for housing. It always seems to come back to housing, but we got to improve our wastewater capabilities, including the sewer for our treatment plants to be able to take a lot more new users. Okay, and then the next item, that was a communication and presentation. And then we had an item where we moved some monies around, 1.6 million actually, because we got funding from the state thanks to folks like Senator Kochi and our 3 representatives at the ledge. So we got state monies to help with some of the improvements that we need in our parks and the facilities and grounds. And so we were able to move some of the monies that we were originally planning to that back into kind of like the master fund for other park activities. And so that included a communication and a bill. And, but it's initiated, and we thank all of our state delegation for their efforts in helping us. And like Councilmember Gugawa said too, like, they need to help us because this is
partnership. And there's other projects throughout the island, parks-wise, that is happening as well. But this is just another one that
like tennis courts, basketball courts, and
pickleball.
The big push now is pickleball. Like
pickleball is a big one.
So we especially getting a lot of requests from our community that the courts need to be
Yeah, tennis courts,
improved
basketball
because
courts, yeah.
the tennis courts need to be improved because there's heavy use for
Yeah.
pickleball.
Yeah.
So good with that. I want to try pickleball
Oh,
sometime.
good. Well, one day.
Representative Morikawa was telling me how much she loves it,
She
and then
loves
I
it.
have to try it. So, another communication we had was from the Executive on Aging to receive and expend $535,000.
People that care.
That's for some of our regular programming with the Kupuna Care, daycare, help with chores, homemaker services, transportation, home delivered meals, all of that. The
Ties into
important,
the one program.
important programs that we continue, and we thank the state to continue,
Yeah.
who continues to fund us.
Very thankful.
Then another item came from the engineer, and basically
Works.
we're indemnifying the Board of Land and Natural Resources, BLNR, for some of the work that's happening with the Nauwiliwili Ahukini shared use path. So it's kind of been quiet for a while with the improvements and expansion of the bike path along the coast, but the section there in Lihue by Ahukini is
That's the next
coming back.
connection,
And
yeah, the final connection
they're starting to work on that.
when you
you
first
know.
started.
Yes, and a big one we had was a presentation from the State Department of Hawaiian Homelands and our Department of Wastewater.
Wastewater.
So Chair Rapozo had asked for this because many of us have become aware of this wonderful opportunity now that the State Department of Hawaiian Homelands has been able to, and I guess they're in final negotiations, but purchase lands from Grow Farm right here in Lihue behind the
Lihue
complex
Center.
fields, Isenberg Park.
Isenberg.
Yeah, and the school back there, the former Immaculate Conception School, the lands behind there. I think they purchased something like 300 acres.
295, 300.
Yeah, and they're planning to do 1,000 single-family homes in phases, of course. So probably over the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
But they want to get going with the first phase of maybe a couple of hundred in the next couple of years. And they're talking about ag lots as well, too, what they call subsistence ag lots. So instead of the typical 10 acres or 5 acres, it'll be smaller lots like 2 to 3 acres that people can build their homes on as well. So, yeah, the state director, DHHL director, Kualii Watson was here, did the presentation, showed us all the cool maps and everything. But Chair requested this because those housing developments cannot happen if we don't address the infrastructure needs of water, and then the big one is wastewater. And then wastewater, even from your,
we've been
with
working.
Lidgate and all, when Bernard was mayor, they were working on
relocating, getting, because why wait till some, disaster happens, moving it out of the inundation zone and moving, Mauka. And then affordable housing as well was a big part. So that's a big one there.
And with the opportunity here now is that the state DHHL and the county and even maybe the agriculture, I think they mentioned ADC, the Agriculture Development Corporation, who also is acquiring land in the area, could all work together to improve the future capacity for wastewater. And it may mean expanding our existing plant in Lihue, but it could also mean relocating the wastewater plant in Lidgate, which is, the most critical plant that needs to be worked on because of it's not even at full capacity because some of the deterioration over the years, and as you know, it's right there, right along the.
And then to pick up
line.
from what you just said, this is truly an example of a team effort, and whether Hawaiian Homelands, Department of Water, all at the table, and of County of Kauai, of course, and our county council members. So I think this is a good example of moving forward and providing housing.
And when we had heard from the Department of Water with their update just a couple of weeks ago, it was very clear. The water director said, we're working very closely with the State Department of Hawaiian Homelands because we see all this opportunity. We didn't necessarily hear the same from wastewater
Yeah,
over
it was a
time.
different-
So I think Chair wanted to have this
Yeah.
item too. And it's unfortunate that he wasn't there, but he wanted it to
Yeah.
move forward. To make sure that we got the wastewater department and the State
On
Department of
board.
Homelands together, working closely together, because we're going to get further along. And it was very, if you go back and watch the meeting, which you can,
Watch the meeting.
it was a very good, productive meeting. We spent quite a time on it, and I could see that, and I asked them too, that when they left the room, that they would go continue working together, because the potential is all there, and it's all aligning at the right time.
Right. And even, with our public works people and all those guys, the division engineers, they were all in that mode of working together. And I think that's the biggest part right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
and pretty much that was it. That was the
the
high
main
points
ones,
of the
yeah.
meeting.
The housing and, yeah. So that kind of wrapped up that whole.
Yeah. So we wanted
Session.
to thank you for tuning in. Tell you can check out our meetings that is on Hoike, and we of course thank Hoike for filming this for our roundup and all of that. And stay tuned. See you
Mahalo.
next week. Chair
Hoike.
should be back.
See you and aloha.
Aloha.